Chris, now you get to listen to our songs, my intro music, and you need to tell me if you hear it or not. So this is
Okay.
our test.
Yeah. Woke up today, felt the weight on my chest. A world on fire, we just call it a test. Voices shout, but who's really heard? Hopes a whisper lost in the absurd. Got questions, man, they don't ask back. Truth's a needle in a haystack. Still I rise, yeah, still I climb. Gotta keep moving, no rewind, no time. Changes, it's a new day, rearranging. Life's a story, turning pages. Where the ink, where the stages. Changing, it's a fight, but it engages. Light and dark, it amazes. Gotta move through the phases. Yeah, street lights hum like a gospel tune. Dreams get buried under skies of doom. But I see cracks in the heavy gray. A sliver of gold in the break of day. People say things will never switch. Same old cycle, same old pitch. But I see seeds in the cracks of stone. What's been broken can still be grown. Changing, it's a new day, rearranges. Life's a story, turning pages. Where the ink, where the stages.
Welcome. My name is Nick Truog. I'm the Black Caucus chair for Wisconsin Democrats, and welcome to Changes, the podcast. And I have a very special guest that many of our new listeners, this is our second episode. So you probably have seen him before. Everyone's favorite, former Milwaukee Dems chair, Wisconsinite extraordinaire, hip hop caucus extraordinaire, everything above, the one and only Chris Walton of Milwaukee. Chris, thank you for joining us.
What's going on, Nick? Thanks for having me.
Of course, and welcome to the podcast. I know I said this a lot to you. It's just like, yo, I'm gonna start a podcast, and never really got to it, but here we are at our second episode, so I'm glad. Chris is gonna be joining us as our guest host today for this episode. I really want to make sure that bring different voices to the podcast, interview different guests, but also experts who really see what's going on in the world today and provide different perspectives. So you're just not hearing from me. Now, for some of you who don't know me, my name is Nick. I'm the Black Caucus chair for Wisconsin Democrats, political strategist, public affairs professional. Just been doing this for a while, and this is where you can come to get alternative opinions regarding the Democratic Party, progressive spaces, and where we're at today. Our goal here is we're gonna be uplifting all voices, but you're gonna see predominantly Black voices. And like I'm telling people, it's Black media, but it's not just for Black people; it's for everyone. So, welcome, Chris. For people who don't know much about you, can you tell us a little more about your background? What are you doing now? What have you done in Wisconsin, and the perspective you're bringing as a guest host today?
Sure. And of course, thanks for having me. It's really interesting seeing how you've grown up. Like, I remember when I first met you, you were working with the Sanders campaign as a volunteer, and now to see you as chair of the Black Caucus, we've come a long way.
That's a whole nother episode.
Right. And so, former chairman of the Democratic Party of Milwaukee County, born and raised in Milwaukee with the College of Mississippi State University. I got elected chair back in 2017. So 8 years ago, almost 9 years ago, I was elected the first openly gay Black chair of Milwaukee County. And it was a interesting term. The entire first Trump administration, electing Governor Evers, beginning the process, actually picking up seats in the Wisconsin State Legislature before we get those maps ungerrymandered, and being more working in policy, doing a lot of policy work after I left as chair. Moved out to D.C. to work there and did a lot of policy work on behalf of different nonprofit organizations and outside groups, helping to get things passed with the Biden administration. And now I'm working in labor out in Delaware currently. So yeah.
Yeah, well, Delaware is really nice. I tell people don't sleep on Delaware. When I went there, I was a retreat when I was working for the Biden campaign, and I remember also going through because I always thought Delaware was just like not a very diverse state, but then when I was in Wilmington, I was just like, there are a lot of black people here, and then I found out
Yeah,
Wilmington was a majority black city.
it is.
So-
You know, people really do sleep on Delaware. Delaware is actually one of the most diverse states in the country. It's like out of 50, Delaware is the seventh blackest state in the country. So,
Yeah.
and that's not something you would even think of. Delaware actually reminds me a lot of Milwaukee County. If Milwaukee County became a state, it's like
Oh, it had a bunch of
29%
trees
black.
too. Ton of green space as well. Like
Oh yeah,
the roads aren't straight. It's like hilly. It's beautiful. It's
it
beautiful out
is.
there.
And we got the Atlantic coast, and 30 minutes I'm in Philly, 2 hours I'm in DC, 2 hours I'm in New York.
Right. So Chris, I want to like just get into it. There's a lot of shit happening
Yeah,
around the country, and I think the biggest one that doesn't get talked about as much, but if you're traveling, you're seeing it a lot more, is this partial government shutdown that is happening. And this all started because Renee Good and Alex Preddy were just two people in particular who were shot and killed by ICE. And there's been a lot of issues with ICE going on. So Democrats wanted to take accountability and was just like, hey, Trump administration, you need to rein in ICE. If you're going to do this shit, no masks, put body cameras on. Where's the accountability when they do wrong things, which they keep doing? And
right.
now we're at shutdown. But you might be up to date on like the moves and what's happening. But like, when did the last time they got a paycheck? Like February
It's been
6th?
44 days. This is officially the longest government shutdown in history now. Trump likes getting the records, and this is another record for him. Another longest government shutdown. All because we in the Democratic Party want folks to actually be held responsible for their actions. We want people to actually, if you're going to be law enforcement, show your face. Make sure you have a body cam there where you can actually be seen doing the things that you're doing and being transparent about it. If you have nothing, they always say, if you have nothing to hide, why won't you participate? Why won't you just go along? Well, why won't they just go along? Why won't they be transparent about the issues that they're having? So this government shutdown it's really something that the Republicans are causing. The Republicans are in the majority. They have the majority in the House, they have the majority of the Senate, and they have the White House, and they have the Supreme Court. And now we just recently passed that bill through unanimous consent. So 100% of the people in the U.S. Senate just say, fine, we'll fund the Homeland Security Department. We'll get money back to these people who are doing TSA. We'll get money to the Coast Guard and all this kind of stuff. But they didn't put the money in the ICE, which is crazy because ICE has so much money now. ICE is like like a large budget. ICE has the same budget as the United States Marine Corps now because of that big crappy bill they passed last summer.
And one of like the largest, I think what was it, top 10? I want to say it's top 10 compared to other militaries around the
Right.
world.
ICE alone has enough budget. It could invade a couple countries by itself. So what more money do you need? And
Right.
we're just asking for transparency. We're not saying we don't want to fund the ICE. We're saying take the mask off, put a camera on where you're doing like every other law enforcement agency around this country, and do your job and don't kill American citizens. But
Right.
transparency in this administration, like everything they do, is not a high priority.
And it's just all when you're seeing like you're on TikTok or you're just on social media, like these aren't like the best of the best. These are randos and people, quite frankly, couldn't pass a police academy training. Like these are people who wouldn't even be like law enforcement officers in our own communities. And ICE says they've actually lowered the standards to be an ICE officer. And these people, all they want to come in and do is deport people. And when you're coming into an agency, I feel, and this isn't the standard talking points I think people would want me to say, but if you're going to be want to be an ICE officer and you're just coming because you want to deport people, you are probably in it for the wrong reasons because you're coming to profile, discriminate, and just cause harm. You don't
Yeah.
care about the Constitution. You don't care about the law. That's why you're here.
Plain and
And
simple, honestly.
so we have this shutdown. It's been going on for so long. I think that everything we see is is TSA. So when you go through the airport, the people who check your bags and make sure that we're safe and nothing happens at an airport, they're the ones being affected by this.
Well, they're the ones that are
100%.
seeing the most affected by this.
Yes. Yes. And I think what's really crazy about this all is like whenever I've been looking at like the TV or when people are talking about who's being affected by this, I keep seeing Black Americans in particular just front and center. I know like obviously everyone works and people of all backgrounds work for TSA, but when I go to the airport, I see mostly Black Americans who are working at TSA, and I just can't help but think that the people who are suffering the most are people from our community in this moment with this shutdown. I don't know what perspective you've been having, because it's just like this shouldn't be happening. Be they shouldn't be being punished because of ICE, because of ICE's incompetence.
Well, they passed the bill in the U.S. Senate. They actually pay TSA, fully fund TSA through the whole regulatory budget process. And the Republicans in the House of Representatives said, no, we're not going to pass that bill because you're not funding ICE. So since we can't have ICE out here hurting people, masked up, no cameras, no accountability, no transparency, no TSA. That doesn't make sense to me, especially right now considering the situation we're currently in, not of our choosing by this administration. We need TSA to be doing their job and be fully funded and prepared to do their job. But they made the decision. If we can't have ICE patrolling the streets, you don't get security. If we can't have them hiding behind masks like some randos randomly running up on you, well, take a chance.
So so you're telling me, Chris, just repeat. I know this, but I want you to confirm it. So I'm not crazy. So I ain't spreading misinformation like I'm Nick Shirley. I'm just Nick Truog. But so you're telling us, and how we're reading it, is the Republicans finally came to the table and negotiated with Democrats. Democrats made sure there was some accountability. The shutdown continues. TSA gets paid, partial government, partial funded. And Republicans just said, no, not at all. TSA workers can't get paid.
Yeah, that's exactly what just happened.
This is so wild.
This is why people like Glenn Grothman, people like Brian Stiles, Derek Van Orden, this is what they voted.
Yeah. So it's so funny you mentioned Derek Van Orden because he's a Navy SEAL. And, I think it's just like people in Wisconsin, like our congressmen, are like Republicans are like, oh, we need to protect Americans. But what's so crazy is just like TSA agents aren't getting paid. They're sending ICE agents who are not even qualified to do a TSA's job. You got Tom Holman being like, oh, it's easy. It's easy to do their job. We don't need them. But then we're at war right now with a country who didn't attack us, didn't do anything to us. We're at war with Iran. And we have this shutdown where we expect TSA agents, public servants, to protect our airports and make sure that we're safe when we're in war with someone who's known for proxy terrorism.
Right.
And they're not getting paid. How does that even keep us safe with what's going on? Do you feel safe? You travel a lot, I know.
Well, I haven't felt safe since this administration came back in power. But this is what they agree. This is what they agree on. Even the Coast Guard base, the Coast Guard is a part of the Department of Homeland Security. The Coast Guard base down along Lake Michigan, right near the county party office down on Delaware Avenue. Yeah, they're not getting paid either. So they've left us all out in the chance. They don't care. And they showed it.
So I think like that's what I think it's really frustrating because like we've seen a couple months ago, first it was purported coup on the country of Venezuela, removed their leader. And then it just seems just now we just attacked Iran. It feels like it's 2003 when I was a child, where for months they were talking about, oh, Saddam Hussein has weapons of mass destruction and he's going to go. They just decided overnight, oh, I'm just going to bomb Iran and bomb the school. And now we're just throwing bombs, spending billions of dollars. And like, Am I the only one, Chris, who thinks like this is a distraction to the chaos that is going on right here at home?
Everything that this administration does is a distraction or projection, for that matter. I never thought I'd be in a position as somebody who was not in kindergarten during the beginning of the war in Iraq, defending the Bush administration. At least the Bush administration went to Congress and got authorization to do it. They didn't do it. They just said, we're going to do it, and this is it. They've been literally kidnapped the president of Venezuela and his wife. They're threatening to invade Cuba. They've attacked Iran, and like they're running amok. They're threatening NATO allies. They're threatening Canada of all places. None of this makes sense. But this is what this administration does, and this is what they said they were going to do from day one, and they've been doing it. So now the ball's in our court as the voters who put them there, but also the voters who need to make sure we hold them accountable and make sure they're transparent.
Right. And I think like one thing that's like different about us as Democrats, but also people like in this larger progressive movement, like this isn't about Trump didn't file the right paperwork to start a war. He had no reason to start a war. Iran was not an imminent threat to us. If anything, the Trump administration has ripped up and violated any peace deal and treaty with Iran. So he has like provoked Iran into a war with us by attacking them directly. And I think like this is the frustrating thing. You are seeing chaos at the airport. You're already can't even afford you're seeing more in your rent, in all costs across the board. And all of a sudden now he's starting a war. And the one thing he was actually saying like, oh, costs are down on is the gas. And now in some areas, I heard like last week, it was like $6 in Chicago. I don't know if that's fully accurate, but it's like it's over $4 some places in Milwaukee.
I saw my sister was telling me and showed me a picture where she was getting gas. And it was $4.19 on Martin Luther King Avenue. I know San Francisco now is over $6 a gallon on average. Here in Delaware, we're just short of $4. So like gas is up, and he is the cause for this. He is the cause for everything that is a melee in this country right now. From the White House being torn to pieces, from the Capitol basically being, they've abdicated their roles. They don't even care what they're doing anymore. They already know they're on the way out come November, so they just said, go nuts. The Kennedy Center is the memorial to JFK, and you're gonna graffiti your name into it? Like everything that is chaos right now in this country literally started January 20th, 2025, and Donald Trump is the reason for that. But now the thing is, what are we going to do about that? We have good candidates that we are going to be seeing coming up in this elections in November. We are going to make sure we get out there and vote for them. We have to make sure we donate for these candidates. We got to make sure we go and vote right now. Like early voting is going on right now in Wisconsin to get us a new justice on the state Supreme Court. And so I'm looking forward to seeing Chris Taylor win on April 7th. But we got to make sure we're doing our part and getting out there to go vote right now. Don't wait till the 7th. Go vote now. Election day is the last day to vote.
Absolutely. And I think like one of the big things just going on that, Chris, is that the state Supreme Court is so critical into making sure that the rule of law and the Constitution is upheld, but also it really matters what values a judge has when they're sitting on a court. We all talk about these monumental cases for during civil rights that desegregated public schools, that put progress towards our communities, but people don't oftentimes know the journey it took to get there. They didn't just agree overnight. It had to go with changing perspectives, and that all goes for someone's values. And if someone doesn't have the right values on that court, how can they look on out for the best interest in what is right? Yes, you got to go down the middle, but are they actually going to look at both sides of the situation? Are they actually going to care about people like me and you? And I think Chris Taylor has demonstrated that she does, and we do have to get out and vote for Chris Taylor. So I want to talk about one thing before we talk about what we should be doing as a community and talking on that more. But this is clearly a distraction, and I think we can talk about for days of what the big beautiful bill does, how it is affecting people's life, and like all the policy. It's clear as day they are not making life better for anyone. They haven't passed shit outside of the that so-called big ugly bill.
Big
That's
beautiful bullshit.
beautiful bullshit. That's the way to go. But now they're trying to even pass more bullshit. It's like the big beautiful, most beautiful bullshit in the Save Act,
Right.
which basically is nationalizing, which is against the Constitution, nationalizing a voting process.
Right.
So, Chris, I know you've been talking a lot about this on the circuit. Give our folks a rundown. What is the Save Act, and what are they trying to do?
So the Save Act is a piece of legislation that Trump is trying to pass that will basically remove your right to vote as an American citizen, full stop. That's what that legislation does. It has so many different voter suppression laws in it that it's going to take a while just to unpack it. And the main points everybody are seeing so far, if you're a woman, if you want to vote in America as a woman and you've gotten married, you're no longer registered to vote because you don't have the same last name on your birth certificate. Most women in America, when they get married, they still change their last names. Doesn't work anymore. If you don't have a passport, congratulations, you cannot vote in America. Mm-hmm. You know, they've been really pushing this a long time, saying that voting is a privilege. No, voting is not a privilege. It's a privilege in countries where you're not allowed to vote, like Russia. It's a privilege there. It's a right. Every American citizen has the right to vote in the United States of America. And that is a problem that this legislation would do. It would enforce so many draconian laws. It is the second coming of Jim Crow. And I know a lot of Christian nationalists are very big on second comings. This is the second coming of Jim Crow. This is what they want.
And you're saying the quiet part out loud. This is the new Jim Crow, but like, I think that one does it finds it just to our listeners. Like, if we just look at the modern age of politics, like since Obama, when Obama won, we didn't have voter ID and pieces like that. But after 2010, after Republicans ran and won, it seems that there was this big push of all of a sudden, after they won the election, the system's rigged and so many people are voting who should not be voting. There's a bunch of voter fraud going. How is there voter fraud are you saying that you fraudulently won the election? Like, that's what I wonder sometimes.
It's fraud if you win. It's a clean election if I win. That's basically what it is.
And it's so they want to like change the rules after they win every time. Yeah. So we have voter ID in Wisconsin. We've had our issues with voter ID, but it's the law of the land in Wisconsin. So like you need a photo ID to go vote.
Right.
What is so crazy about this, and I don't think people are fully understanding this, is that if your driver's license or state ID card, if the SAVE Act passes, that is not good enough for you to go and get your that's not good enough for you to go vote. That is what the Trump administration is saying. If you have a real ID, they're saying, oh, that does work, but it's still a process through the federal government, not the state. So that is the only terms. A passport, only 50% of people in this country have a passport. It's also, you have to pay over $100 just to get a passport to come. So like, it just literally backwards. And just like I think people who are opposed to it are being loud, but I think there's a lot of people who are very confused by this because on the surface they think, oh, it makes sense. But in reality, it makes the process harder. Chris, what did you have to do to get your you have a real ID now. That would be an acceptable form of identification. But what is all the shit you had to do just to get that?
I had to bring my birth certificate and I had to bring my social security card to the DMV. The DMV alone, if you've ever been to the DMV, need I say more? But I have to go now to the courthouse. When I got my real ID, I was back home in Wisconsin, so I had to get my birth certificate from the county courthouse. Shout out to the county clerk's office in Milwaukee County, Izzy Ramon.
Oh, Register of Deeds, Izzy Ramon.
Register of Deeds, and so shout out to him. But also, I had to go get that. Then I had to go and badger my mother for my social security card. Then I have to go to the DMV.
And moms keep that shit under lock and key. Moms just don't be giving people their stuff back.
Nah, no, that is hers. And so I had to get that from her, get my birth certificate from Izzy, get my social security card from my mom, and then go to the DMV. 3 weeks later, I can finally get a real ID. And mind you, I was in line that whole 3 weeks, but that's just going through the DMV. We used to that.
But just even by that logic, Chris, so like even say like you live in Delaware now and
Right.
you didn't get your imagine if you had to get your real ID in Delaware. You would have to find a way to get your birth certificate from Wisconsin. And I heard like some things on a shout out to Native Land Pod if they ever come across this show at all. But I like there are some arbitrary laws where somehow in the rural South, sometimes it's really hard to get access
Yeah,
to your birth certificate if you lost it.
very
And so
much
if you
so.
lose, so
I was
that's
in Mississippi. I know those they don't have they have the county courthouse. And you have to go to the county courthouse, which may be 40, 50 miles away. And you may not have a vehicle, you may not have a car, you may not have transportation or whatever you need to, or can get somebody to take you there. Every little step of the way, they want to make it easy. They want to make it harder
right.
for you to vote. And that's not okay. You have a right as an American citizen to cast your vote for who you want to be in place. But again, he told us this. If I win, you won't have to vote again. This is what he said. That's not a good thing. But we ought to work on that because so many people feel that voting is such a chore. Voting is literally our job as citizens to make our voices heard of how we want to be led. This isn't a scam to get you to be on jury duty. This isn't some way they're getting in your business. We don't know who you vote for. We just know if you vote. That's a public act. If you vote, that's a public act. Who you voted for, that's none of our business. But that's another situation that Trump is causing because now he's sending the FBI and trying to sue the state of Wisconsin and sending the FBI into Georgia and Arizona, trying to open up these ballots and see who people voted for. Like, people, if your vote did not matter, would they be doing all of this to stop you from voting?
No, they wouldn't. And this man has conned people twice, not once, twice. Some of y'all 3 times, because some people voted for him the middle time too. He conned it. He threw a temper tantrum when he lost, denied he did anything wrong, and now he is trying to crash the entire world because he lost to Joe Biden. He can't stand the fact that he lost.
He's
And
a spoiled little rich kid.
he's a spoiled little rich kid. And like there's a whole this is going to be off topic, off like the general we're talking about, but it's so crazy because President like Donald Trump has literally is taking our country to the ground. If you were concerned about costs being high prior to him being elected, he has made it worse. He has found a way to make the situation worse, and he's willing to burn the current world order, which is going to make life uncertain for us even more. This is who we have leading our country when we're talking about the rise of artificial intelligence and data centers, people getting less jobs because people are utilizing AI at companies. We're at a pivotal point of humanity, and we have this
moron in charge right now.
Yes. And that is what is so important. So with the SAVE Act, and the last thing I'll put on the SAVE Act is like, we're both dudes here. I don't think we're going to have to deal with this, but people who get married, the spouses, it's not just, go to the courthouse and change your name. Like we need to stop acting that when it comes to voting, it's just this easy process that takes like 2 seconds to do. No, you are adding hours in a day to go vote when all of us are busy. We're taking care of our kids. We're making sure our houses are clean. We need to get groceries. There's so many things that we need to do in a day that people can't even keep up with. And you want to like make it like to just register a vote, a 2-week adventure.
Right.
Like people don't have time for that. So the SAVE Act is very dangerous.
And they just don't care enough when you get down to it because they got all this going on. I have
Right.
all of that going on. And now I got to go jump all these extra hoops. Even if I do care to go vote, I no longer care.
And this is why everyone needs to pay attention. You need to vote in on April 7th or before April 7th. This is pre-recorded, but this will be going out in the middle by Wednesday. If you're listening to this, probably Wednesday, Thursday before April 7th. But this is where it comes down to building our collective power. And like Chris, we're talking about a lot of subjects, in particular, that it affects everyone in this country, but for Black Americans and Black Wisconsinites, we hit the brunt of this even more because of the disparities that exist in our country. So people want to talk about Doge, and we're talking about TSA workers and the how effects of the federal government shutdown. The largest employer of Black Americans is the federal government. So when you see cuts happening in the federal government shutdowns, people not getting paid, it is African Americans, the African American middle class, that is suffering for it. And they're doing it out of love and service to this country. When we're talking about the war in Iran and gas prices, you're talking about 419 on Martin Luther King Drive. That is a Black neighborhood. Inner city neighborhoods are paying way more in gas. We don't have a Quick Trip in the middle of city of Milwaukee where we're paying $3.69. No, we're paying over $4 right now. And then with the SAVE Act in particular, if you have, people should not take this birth certificate shit for granted.
No.
Not everyone has kept their birth certificates. People have lost them, that being very transient. It is that. So
It's
Chris,
a piece of paper. How do you keep up?
Right.
One random piece of paper, doesn't everybody don't have a vault or a safe deposit box on them or something like that. And if you do, and your house catches on fire, and it may burn up, like all this stuff. There's so many other things you could think of. And I will give one shout out to one Republican that I did hear, Lisa Murkowski up in Alaska, saying that my people in Alaska will not be able to vote with this bill, and she's against this bill. So there is my one random that's my one plus for the Republican Party for the 2020s. But that's it.
yeah, well, it comes to a point where I think just for the Republicans listening, and there are Republicans out there, and I think they've become a minority within their party, as like the worst of America has taken the party of Lincoln over.
Right. Even though Nick Cannon still hasn't found that out yet.
Oh Lord Jesus, that's another episode too.
He's a little busy with all his kids though, so I guess.
So Chris, as you know, like in the Black Caucus, we're really focused on building and making sure that we're building our political power in the state by electing Black Wisconsinites, right, Black Democrats to office, and allies as well who support our platform. Why is this organization or political organizing of the Black Caucus and just Black political power so important in this environment we're dealing with right now?
Because we've seen so many times, often, especially around elections, it becomes a situation of we need every Black person to go out and vote. And it's y'all didn't vote last time, or y'all didn't. We always vote. The Black community always votes and consistently votes the right direction. When we show up, we're voting for people who want to support cleaning the environment, who want to make sure people have health care rights, who want to make sure that they have voting rights, who want to make sure that they can actually live and thrive and make the choices that they need to make for themselves. It's not our fault when other people make other decisions and crash land us into this situation. 92% of Black women voted for Kamala Harris. 78% of Black men voted for Kamala Harris. Now, I would love to see that 78% number go up.
It was more. It was 80 in Wisconsin.
80 that's good. That's good. We need to catch up with our sisters. They was at 92. We need to be right there with them and stand right alongside of them.
But like even within I will say that we need it'd be great to. It was great. I want to be higher. Right. But let's also forget with the men discrepancy.
Right.
It is worse way worse. Right. Not even a majority. Latino men, way below 50%. White men, below 50%.
Right.
AAPI, the LGBTQ plus community and the Black community are the most consistent voters for Democrats.
Right.
And it is not because it's party loyalty. It is about what's best for our community and our eventual liberation as a community to defeat these disparities and actually have a leveled playing field.
Right.
And as Black Caucus chair, coming into this, everyone, like, the main thing people are like, well, how are you going to get out the black vote for statewide officers? It can no longer just be getting out the vote for Democrats. It's how are we making sure that we have a seat at the table?
Right.
And I'm telling people now, if you do not have a seat at the table, make your own seat. Bring your own to the table.
You're good. And you got to bring your own table sometime. You bring your own table and chairs. And that's the thing that we as a people have consistently done. But we need our allies to also stand up and help us out here. Because we are not, it's Wisconsin. We are not close to the majority of the population in the state of Wisconsin. If we were, Wisconsin would be a solid blue state and we wouldn't have a lot of these issues that we currently have. But what we need to make sure we're doing, we do our part. We bring ourselves out there. We push the candidates that support us and stand with the people who stand with us. That's how you get amazing people who are in the state legislature right now, like Senator Drake and Senator Johnson. And you get amazing members of the assembly. And you get black sheriffs and black DAs and black county executives. And we've had black statewide officials in the state of Wisconsin. This is how you get to these people when we have a united group of people standing up and saying, this is which way we want to go, and this is why we want to go, and this is how we're going to keep moving Wisconsin forward. And so until we all understand that, and collectively as a coalition, because it's one thing as the Republican Party, they all can unite around three things. They hate the gays, they love God, and they want guns. That's their entire, and cut taxes. That's their entire platform. We are a coalition party. We got Milwaukee, we got Racine, we got Kenosha, we got Madison, we got La Crosse. We all might not be coming from the same direction, but we're all pushing for the same values. We want to have an economy that works. We want health care as a right. We want the right to vote. We want to be able to make the choices around our bodies and our decisions. And we want women to have those rights. We want the people in the LGBTQ community to have the right to make the decisions that works for them. We're not telling them what to do, unlike the Republicans. We're letting them decide what works best for them. And until we can get that message across and everybody will seem to move in that same path, which I think we're going to do really good this year, but how do we keep going?
Right. And that's why, like, as a caucus, we have endorsed candidates in the spring across the state. All black people do not live in Milwaukee. We live all across the state. So I just want to just shout out just for our listeners. We have endorsed a handful of candidates running this spring. We've endorsed our former state party vice chair, Milwaukee County Supervisor Felicio Martin, for re-election. But we also have candidates in Racine fighting to make sure that mental health and healthcare access from the city is being protected with the King Center. Folks like Sam Pete, Allison Weiss, Brittany Hodges, and Marlo Harmon running to be on the Racine Common Council. Marlo Harmon is also working to make sure that the Black achievement gap in college readiness is no longer at its lowest point in Racine, and she's running for the Racine Unified School Board. We have a school board member in Gussie Lewis in Dane County who's running for the Dane County Board. She's based in DeForest. There's Goodwill running for the Dane County Board, District 16. Fitchburg Councilman and our caucus secretary, Donald Dantzler, is not only running for re-election for the Fitchburg City Council District 3 seat, but he's also running for Dane County Board, District 33. We have Kevin Levy, who's been a powerhouse and ally for Black Wisconsinites in Beloit, running for re-election of the Common Council and running for County Board. We also have Sean, I'll get to Sean last. We have Janine Hibbler, who's running for the Oak Creek Franklin School Board. And we also have Antonio Godfrey Sr. running for re-election for Fond du Lac City Council and the Fond du Lac School Board. And Sean Lowe, who is running for re-election for Wauwatosa City Council. And mind you, if you don't think your vote counts, this man won by one vote, a provisional ballot. That means most likely someone in the military voted for him to win his election. And Chris, these are not all the vast majority of spots are not majority Black areas.
Not even close. Not even close.
So when we talk about building political power, everyone, and how do we combat in this moment, it's more than just getting out to vote. We need to make sure that we elect candidates who share our values from our community and making our own seat. And I think that the last thing I want to say on that I'm literally just blanking on in my head, but this is what it was. The importance of doing this work in Wisconsin is not just to build a stronger Democratic Party and win statewide offices. In order for us to maintain our political power and prevent these things from getting worse, fixing the problems and making sure they don't happen again, we need to normalize Black leadership in majority white spaces. And that is something I don't think we like to hear all the time, but we can no longer play the same game of like business as usual. And it's really important that we get in these moments and really just build on our political power here in Wisconsin, because we are the conscience of this party and we're the ones who are going to put in the work. And I think it's very important for everyone around the state to make sure we're supporting Democratic candidates, but also support our caucus members because they're ready to put in the work and make the state better. Chris, is there anything you want to like share before we close out?
Just know your power. Know how important your power is and what you can do with it. Like I said previously, if your vote didn't matter, they wouldn't be fighting this hard to make sure you don't utilize it. They wouldn't be trying to stop you every step of the way and put up a barrier to stop you from voting if it didn't matter this much. And I know a lot of people will say, I'm not into politics. Politics is into you, and it's showing you every time you go to that gas pump. Every time you go to that gas pump and you put money into your gas and it's costing $4.19, $4.29, $4.39, that's politics and you're into it. So whether you're into politics or not, it's into you. So vote like it.
All right. Well, thank you. Thanks, Chris, just for coming on and being my guest co-host today. And everyone, thank you for listening to the Changes Project podcast. Remember, get out and vote and make sure that you can support our work by supporting the Black Caucus. So thank you all for coming. Until next time, I'm your host, Nick Truog, and this is also our guest co-host, Chris Walton, signing off.
Changes. It's a fight, but it engages. Light and dark, it amazes.